In this video, we will learn how to rationalize a denominator. To rationalize a denominator, it means to get rid of the square root that's in the denominator. Because when there is a square root in the denominator, that means there is an irrational number in the denominator, and we want to turn it into a rational number. So looking at the first fraction, 6 divided by the square root of 5, we currently have an irrational number, the square root of 5, in the denominator. To turn it into a rational number, what I will need to do is I will need to multiply the square root of 5 by itself. Now, I can't just multiply something to the denominator of a fraction, I also need to multiply it to the numerator of the fraction. And why is that? That's because the square root of 5 divided by the square root of 5 equals 1. And as long as I multiply a fraction by 1, I am not changing the original problem. Multiplying 6 times the square root of 5 would give me 6 square root 5. And then this is where the magic happens. The square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is the square root of 25. And if I look up here at my table of perfect squares, I can see that 25 is a perfect square. That means the square root of 25 is the number that I had to square to get 25. Since I had to square 5 to get 25, the square root of 25 is 5. And my final answer is 6 root 5 divided by 5. And that cannot be simplified. We cannot simplify this 5 with this 5 because this 5 is underneath the square root, whereas this 5 is not. Let's take a look at our next problem. 10 divided by the square root of 24. Right now, the square root of 24 being in the denominator means we have an irrational number in the denominator. But before I start by multiplying by the square root of 24, I first think I can simplify the square root of 4. The reason I know that is because there is a perfect square that divides evenly into 24, and that is 4. So let's first simplify the square root of 24. We can rewrite that as the square root of 4 times the square root of 6, or 2 root 6. So right now, I have 10 divided by 2 root 6. If you simplify that radical first, it makes this problem a lot easier. All right, now I need to rationalize the denominator. I need to get rid of that square root of 6. And the way that I do that is I can multiply, we can't forget to multiply both the numerator and denominator by the square root of 6. Once I do that, 10 times root 6 will give me 10 root 6. And in the denominator, 2, and then root 6 times root 6 is the square root of 36. And once again, that is the power of multiplying a radical by itself, because the square root of 36, you can see up here, is one of our perfect squares. And so the number I had to square to get 36 is 6. Therefore, the square root of 36 is 6. So now I have 10 root 6 divided by 2 times 6 would give me 12. And then this time I can actually simplify my final answer because 10 divided by 12 is a fraction that can be reduced to 5/6. So my final answer is 5 root 6 divided by 6. Let's look at one more example. So like we talked about on example 2, we first wanted to simplify any square roots that you can. So we're going to do the same thing with the square root of 72. I look up here and I try to find the largest perfect square that divides evenly into 72, and I think that's 36. So I'm going to rewrite the square root of 72 as the square root of 36 times the square root of 2, or 6 root 2. So my problem is 8 root 3 divided by 6 root 2. I do have an irrational number in the denominator, that's the square root of 2, and that's what I want to get rid of. I get rid of it by multiplying it by itself, the square root of 2. So let's multiply the numerator and denominator by the square root of 2. So that I can see I'm multiplying none other than 1. This would give me 8 times the square root of 6, because I can multiply the square root of 3 times the square root of 2, divided by 6, and then the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is square root of 4, which can be simplified to 2. So now I have 8 root 6 divided by 6 times 2 would give me 12. And once again, I can simplify my final answer because the fraction 8 divided by 12 can be reduced to 2 over 3. So my final answer is 2 root 6 divided by 3. And that is how you rationalize a denominator. Thank you for watching. If you found this video useful and you'd like to be notified when new videos come out to help you in your math classes, go ahead and click subscribe. Thank you so much.